When my dad was growing up, he wasn't allowed to drink out of a water fountain. When he was a boy, he wasn't allowed to go to the same schools as white kids. He wasn't allowed to sit on the same bus. Within his lifetime, he went from not being able to drink out of a water fountain to voting for the first Black president of the United States. In 50 years, we went from not being able to vote to having a Black president. How far do you think we are able to go over the next 50 years?
My name is Roman Scott. I'm from Dallas, Texas. My mom is a teacher, and my dad, he works in IT. He fixes computers. So growing up, I was always interested in computers and software, about the potential of technology. So that's when I started to get into programming and coding. In terms of entrepreneurship, my parents they weren't entrepreneurs themselves, but we always used to watch Shark Tank. So you saw people coming on and pitching their ideas, pitching their venture, getting investors. My entrepreneurship journey started when I was 15. I saw my father, he worked at the same job for 40 years. He always showed the utmost loyalty to his company, never missed a day of work, but he was always underpaid. We were always kind of struggling to bring in income. So what I did was I started a software development company called Burton Algorithms in order to help bring in additional income into the family. When I was applying to college, a lot of institutions, your importance is derived by your social capital, right? So who your mother is, who your father is, what are your connections? Stanford appealed to me because of how entrepreneurial it was. So when I was applying to Stanford, I talked about my work with Burton Algorithms and me using entrepreneurship as a way to close the wealth gap between Blacks and white families. I think that's what got me into the school. When I first heard about Stanford Seed, it was from a friend who told me it was an internship program that allowed me to work directly with entrepreneurs in Africa and South Asia. I realized that it was my opportunity to go to Africa because they give you the resources, they give you the means, they give you a purpose, right? So it's like you're coming in with a mission. You're not coming in just to be a spectator or to explore and be a tourist and then go back home. You're coming to the continent to contribute to a cause, to be a part of something that's greater than yourself. So when I applied to Stanford Seed, I got a call from Cecil. I got a voicemail from him because I missed his call. And it was very brief, but he was saying, Roman, my name is Cecil Abbey, and I'm from Ghana, and I would love to call you and have a conversation just about why you're interested in coming to Ghana.
So the first thing that I would say that strikes me is his humility. And you see that over and above how smart he is. You realize that this is somebody who you can listen to. This is somebody who can correct you. This is somebody who can ground you. Everything he had told me about himself and everything that I had seen and, his resume, he resonated it.
The first thing that I noticed when I was coming out of the airport was that in all of the advertisements, they looked like me. I think that really just blew my mind. And we have agency and our voices have power over here. Incept has always been an architectural design firm, but now it's just starting to transition into real estate developers. I think where I'm coming in is helping out a lot with the operational efficiency and using technology as a mechanism to scale Incept, because Cecil's dream is to have an Incept office in Nigeria, to have an Incept office in Cape Town, to have an Incept office in Dubai. And he can't do that all on his own. But with technology, you are able to do that. You can leverage technology, you can leverage software in order to scale your organization by 10x or by 100x.
We look forward to showing him more of Ghana, explaining to him why we do all sorts of things and how he even plays back into America and why they do things. He talks very loudly. He said his mother talks very loudly. I said, he's from Ghana. There's a tribe that talks very loudly, and they're Ashanti.
We took an ancestry test. I went back on my family tree, and as I started tracing it back, I found out that my furthest ancestor that traced back came from the Ashanti region. He was sold into slavery in 1720 to Massachusetts. And because my mom, she's from Massachusetts, this was my opportunity to return to the land that my ancestors were from. So going to Kumasi was really an enlightening experience for me because African Americans, we didn't have the opportunity to celebrate thousands and thousands of years of tradition. Like having the kente cloth, having the sandals made for me, I just felt so accepted so immediately. It was just incredible.
And I think the most transformative experience was when I went to Cape Coast and we saw the dungeons. We saw how brutal the conditions were. It was completely dark. There was no ventilation, there was no space, there was no food, no water, no hope, except there was a little tiny opening. That small array of light was the only glimmer of hope that my forefathers had. But that alone was enough to sustain them. And coming to Ghana and coming to Africa, I see that we are all connected through this story of valor and of resilience.
It's really empowering because it's like the work that I am doing is helping advance the economy of my own people, like my own culture. We're not just creating a profit for ourselves, you're creating opportunities and jobs through real estate just by creating one house. It's definitely been a blessing because working with Celso and working with the Inset team is informing my ideas of how can I take this real estate concept and apply it back home in America, but then I'm also taking what I've learned in Silicon Valley and applying it to African-owned business.
You have to allow yourself to embark on opportunities that are new, that might cause you some anxiety, because oftentimes the greatest reward comes from stepping outside of your comfort zone.